Hi, welcome back to Radio Hawke's Bay and Life Coaching with Gail. I have Sonya with me again today, and Sonya's going to do a little interview of me about things. I have no idea what she's going to ask me, so it will be interesting. Yes. Right. How are we going?
Good. Thank you for having me on today.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I have a few questions to ask you around your life coaching.
Yeah.
And the first question I have is, what would you tell somebody who is just kind of developing their gifts or has just become aware that they have a gift to share, but they may perhaps not have the culture or family acceptance of that gift? What would you say to that person, or what advice would you give to that person who's just trying to connect with their gift?
And if you're interested in actually knowing what you're capable of, often it's about looking back to when you were young, actually.
Right.
What were the things that you could do or that you sensed or that other people didn't understand you about you? You know, like,
Yes.
So maybe you said something was going to happen to somebody and you were growled at for it or something like that. You could easily, over that period of time, in an unsupported environment, have squashed those things, but they will not have left you.
No.
You will still have those abilities. And often what happens is that when you go through life, you have trauma.
Yes.
You know, when we have anything that causes us trauma or grief, it is pretty much that it wakes up your inherent intuitive abilities. So if you don't know anybody and if you don't have anybody that can help you with that, there are many tools online, you know, on YouTube. There are people who give workshops or development classes that you could perhaps get involved with. And if you're not sure you've even got a gift, there's a lot of these little kind of psychic tests that you can have online. Mind you, I would say be careful because there are many, many different types of psychic intuitive abilities.
Yes.
They all fit into 5 categories, which are the same as our seeing, hearing, smell, taste, feeling.
Right, yes.
As in known as our clear senses. However, there are also ways in which we intuit. So, okay, easy thing, like somebody says, oh, I saw a ghost, not a ghost, but, you know, I saw someone standing at the end of my bed and it freaked me out.
Yes.
So that person has a type of clairvoyance because they actually saw something.
Yes.
Some people can see just a light, that also is spirit, but some people can see the form that can be quite frightening sometimes if it's a first,
Yes.
or if it feels scary.
Right.
So for a person who is wanting to develop, because that was your question,
Yes.
sorry, I get a bit sidetracked, that's just
That's
how
okay.
I go. For a person who's wanting to develop, there are also local people, like local groups, and in wherever you live, wherever you're watching this, there's people in your area that actually take groups to help you develop a gift, even if you don't think you've got a gift.
Yes.
What I'm saying is if you've got even if you have an ability to kind of like empathize with somebody, you have a gift. Like if somebody's crying and you feel really sad for them, you actually have an intuitive gift
Yes.
of being able to pick up on that person's vibration. And if you can pick up on theirs, you can develop yours to pick up on more vibration. And I get it. The negative ones we don't want to pick up on. The reality is the positive ones are so brilliant that it's kind of just learning how to how to balance the heavier energy vibrations that you pick up, how to deal with those, and there's ways that you can learn to deal with those. So definitely joining a group, joining or getting a one-on-one kind of mentor to coach you through that. It's something that I also do and have done over the years. And it's always at your own pace, because there's a funny thing that happens. You know, when we're learning academically, it's do, get as much in, you know, study hard, da-da-da. Doesn't work with the psychic intuitive realm. The psychic intuitive realm is there is an unconscious part of you that is ready or not ready or almost ready, and it will receive that information.
Is this why sometimes I've particularly heard of people going through phases and stages in their life, right from childhood into adulthood, where their gifts have come and gone. They've not been necessarily there all the time. Now, this could be obviously from a lot of different reasons. What are some of the main reasons why that happens as we get older, and does that mean our gift is gone?
The gift is never gone. It's never
and
gone.
Why does it come kind of back and forth?
So good reasons, because in my generation, ours was squashed, like absolutely squashed. And so therefore you question yourself, you shut yourself down. Some, if you've been a child that's had a very kind of vivid, profound experience and it hasn't been validated by your parents or your school, as in like, well, you're just weird, then you'll shut that down, you'll deny that part of yourself because it's not okay, it doesn't feel good, nobody likes it, so you shut it down. So when you're young, that's often the way that it happens. It is, and or if anything bad happens, if you say something and then that happened, then you can think you're responsible for it.
Yes.
It's another way you can shut things down. And then as you get older, you there's this actual learning, developmental process that has its own rhythm. And like I was saying before, you know, unconsciously, yourself knows what you're ready for, what you can absorb, what you can use. The other part of it is we go through steps and stages. And when you go through an opening up, say you've had a traumatic experience and you start to see colours, or you start to see things, or you start to feel things like loud noises, too loud, like things become over volumed. I've just lost myself in that. But if those things happen, it is often takes a while after that where there's a space. So you get so you've gone through trauma, you start to open up, and maybe you pull back a little bit, or you think, oh, I'm losing my mind, I'm going crazy. And so you pull back a little bit and you're actually shutting down. You have your own internal process. So when you take a step up, we always level up. You know, we grow. You know, we go from toddler to child, teenager, da-da. So we do that with our intuitive abilities as well, our inner senses. And when we have gone up a level, there is a pause and a flattening. It's like the top of the step, because you are assimilating. You don't know you're doing this, but you're assimilating everything. You are pretty much, it's like an alchemy. So you're taking all the information in an unconscious and conscious level. They're working together to try and figure things out, work things out. And so it's a processing. It's like it's like getting used to what you have been exposed to a period of time, and then you'll go through another one. And the other thing, carry on.
I was going to ask you next, when somebody is developing their gift, and they know that they have it and they're ready to accept it and are ready to develop on it, but they're also looking for their purpose in life and what are ways that they can integrate their gift with their purpose, because obviously they're very much connected together. Because some people have gifts and then some people are obviously trying to find their purpose. What is the best advice that you can give around that?
It's a little bit like the things you learn in life are talents and skills and abilities. So you have inherent and natural abilities and skills. We're not encouraged to find out what those are, but some of those are the intuitive side of things. But all of them help you in whatever your purpose is. So you can choose to do a job for humanity where you're just helping feed people. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
But your intuitive abilities will draw you to a person in distress and need and dire situations that must be seen before, even if they're at the back of the crowd,
Right,
or the
yes.
middle of the crowd and not in line.
Yes.
We're not waiting their turn, so to speak. Your intuitive abilities, in that sense, could save a life because that person could be right on that point of that needing that one drop of water just to keep them alive.
Yes.
And that's where instinct in any job role that you choose comes in. And this year is a really important year because some of you all out there are being called to your true purpose, which isn't necessarily a orthodox, job and work. It is your abilities have become strong because you are ready to do something new with them. And this year is about looking at what else you can do apart from your normal kind of job. What could you do that was a job that would be fulfilling for you? Actually, your intuitive abilities grow as you feed yourself emotionally and fulfill your own happiness meter.
Right. And as we transit from the 3D into the 5-dimensional world, what are we to expect with that, including with the spiritual psychic realm? What kinds of things cosmically are we to expect over the next coming years?
So the next 3 years in particular are very key years. Already this year, the sun has started again its 11-year cycle. None of this is, ethereal or made up. This is based on science, everyone. It is. The sun has started its solar activity. It is strong, it's been very powerful, and it has been bigger than we've had for an extraordinarily long time, and it continues for 3 years. So therefore, the sun is firing flares at the earth, which is, in effect, creating different energies, vibrations on the earth. So it's changing the vibrations, but it's also lifting the vibrations. And that will keep continuing. So we will deal with it in all kinds of different ways. The 3-dimensional world is the world where we get up, we go to work, we worry about the bills, we worry about food, we wonder about how we're going to make ends meet, how our body is, how fit we look, what clothes we wear. That is the 3-dimensional world where everything is around the money aspect. And so therefore we've had the power and the greed that comes with the money by big conglomerates and organisations and things like that, which have left out the human aspect.
Absolutely.
Which means the human us has been struggling in the 3D world because the energy frequencies are changing within us. Actually, we go, there's got to be something better. There's enough food on the planet to feed everyone. Why are people starving? Why are people homeless? with all our technology, why are we not looking after our human people? So that's very 3D coming into a higher vibration of thinking, like a 4D, 5D.
Yes.
So the 5-dimensional is a big leap. As you can see, I mean, we're already in the 4D because we've been more accepting of the intuitive side of ourselves,
Yes.
you know, that side where there's something else. I know there's something else. I can't quite put this something else into my everyday life yet, which is what you're asking. It can be put into everyday life because we use our instincts actually without even trying. And if you have a gift, that gift should not be worried or frightened about. It should just be, okay, how can I use this to help? What can I do? Say, for instance, you get some sort of premonition, right? So I've had this before, so I'm going to mention it. If someone has a premonition about something bad happening, like a car accident, and they don't know what to do about it, and it just frightens them, which, you know, like can happen and has happened, I would just say, all you say to a person is be careful on the road.
Yes.
You know, just be careful. There's idiots out there. Just little comments.
Be more mindful.
Just be mindful that,
Yeah.
you know, the weather might not be good, you know, and then guess what? It's up to someone else's free will.
Yes.
You know, you don't know what's part of their path and what's part of their destiny and their fate that actually will help them become the person they are meant to be and do the work they're meant to be to do on the earth.
Right.
So if you are, you know, with the question of the intuitive and if you don't fit in your job anymore, that's a clear sign that you have taken a step up.
Right.
So you've gone up a vibrational level, so to
Yes.
speak, and that you are stepping into the 5-dimensional reality because the sun is making the earth and other aspects are all working together to lift the vibration of the planet. So we're actually focused more on humanity, people,
yes.
than money, power, and everything else.
Right. Which is great because, you know, we need more community togetherness with human beings in general, don't we?
Yeah, we've lost that a lot. It's actually been discouraged, you know. I think you made a comment the other day, you know. We walk down the road looking at our phone. We've got our phone and we're looking at our phone. You know, where are we connected with everyone around us and what's going on?
Absolutely. I'm definitely a people watcher, and I just notice how disconnected we've become while we're engaging on our phones all the time, which is, you know, absolutely everyone is guilty of that. Even though we can try and do our best. You had to leave your phone at home the other day, and I remember thinking it's just so easy to want to look down or pick it up or have a scroll through. But at the same time, which is great because we've got all this technology at our fingertips, but it does concern me a little bit that we are navigating away from human connection with one another. So it's quite amazing how you can see just people disengaging in the same group, in the same room, but they're all on their phones. It's a very interesting thing to see, and hopefully we can find a way to reconnect.
And the 5D energy is also through thought.
Yes.
You know, it's that telepathic kind of connection
Right,
that becomes
yes.
easier. So it's like, you know what a person is thinking before they say something, and you know, you pretty much know what to do for a person before they ask for it.
Yes.
If you're tuned into it, but if you're tuned into the phone,
well, this is
you
just,
miss all of these things.
We do, and I'm just wondering if we're missing some of that part of the connection too, of that intuitive, just kind of picking up the vibes of what each other need. I
wonder about the solar activity connection, because solar flares wipe out telecommunications.
Yes.
You know, and the humans on Earth have done great things to protect our technology
Yes.
from the effects of the solar activity. We've got 3 years of this.
Yes.
So at some point in time, they might have to upscale and upscale, step up their protections as well, because
Yes.
otherwise we will have blackouts of communication, which means no buying anything if you haven't got cash.
No, that's right.
Because nothing's going to be working. So
that brings me to another interesting question about, obviously they're looking at making a cashless society. With these solar flares and other cosmic energies coming into force over the next few years and all these changes, is it wise to become a cashless society, given what we've already here in Hawke's Bay discovered post-cyclone, and with all these solar flares happening over the next coming years? There's a bit of a concern around becoming cashless, because what will that mean if again we're at a position where we can't buy anything online, we can't use our cards, we can't draw any money out, for survival, if there's also no cash tended.
And that's the thing. No other backup plan that I know of has been suggested apart from cash. And, the cyclone that we went through, Hastings was very different to Napier. Hastings went on as if nothing had happened. Napier was cut off. No food in, no food out, no petrol in, no communication, no power, just everyone having to rely on everybody else. And
That's right.
Everybody got such a lot out of that, just meeting their neighbours sometimes, but here, I've got this, you have this.
Yes.
But cash
Yes.
was absolutely necessary.
It was.
So if you didn't have cash, you were kind of out of luck.
Yes, well, once the cyclone had happened, I personally lined up at one point outside hunting and fishing to get myself a power bank for my phone once the stores did open. And it was a big topic of conversation in the line with everyone who had obviously cash to be able to purchase things. And it was a consensus along the line of, thank goodness we had some cash on us.
Yeah.
And thank goodness we had some cash at home, and we didn't have it all in the bank.
Yes.
So I for myself, I had not long before the cyclone just started to implement a cash stuffing kind of regime, which is where you just, put little bits of money aside each week, or coins or whatever you have. It doesn't have to be a lot, just whatever I had, and I had built that up over a long period of time. So for me, I was very, very lucky that I had started to do that before the cyclone hit, so I did actually have some cash on me at home. Otherwise, I would have had nothing either, and we wouldn't have necessarily had such a great time getting through as we did. So, there's a lot of debate, obviously, around becoming a cashless society, because there's no other alternatives that have been really offered as yet.
And I think that's kind of what
kind
I'm
of an
waiting
issue.
for.
Yeah, that's really where I'm sitting at too, is what else would be on the offering if we do go through something like that again, or these continuance of the solar flares that potentially could give us a blackout.
Yeah. The other thing about the energy vibration lifting is that we won't need to do things things won't be as arduous and hard. There won't be such a struggle. And I know technology in its own way has done that. There could be greater advances in technology that mean that it isn't going to be affected by anything like the radiation from the sun type of thing,
Yes.
But I do know that also our DNA is being changed because of the solar flares and the radiation from the sun. And human beings have evolved for years, for millions of years, well, however many years that is, that humans have been around. And we just keep doing that. You know, if you look back at your great-great-grandparents even, you can see how different we are as human beings. It's not just how we dress, it's our attitude, it's our vibration, it's how we live and move and think, actually.
Yes.
It's very, very different. So we've evolved. So it's into the 5D, we're just evolving more.
Well, it's all very much based on consciousness, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Expressed through our human.
Yes.
And there's this thing about millions, and this is like archaeologists see when they dig up archaeological sites that they were way more advanced than we are now even. You know, they see helicopters in carvings that they unearthed that have been like 300,000 years ago.
Yes.
So all of what we've got now has been before.
Yes.
And it will be interesting to see what changes we have on the planet and how the next 3 years will go. This is September. So this month, and I said this at the beginning of the month, so I'll just say it again for you out there, whatever experiences that you have this month, and like I said, you know, walk the high road this month. Hold your head up high through any hard thing, because whatever you do this month determines what your year will be like next year. It's just an astrological thing. These are real things. These are not imaginary. They are not just the fluffies from the psychic, intuitive kind of realm. They are based on astrology because the moon affects us, the sun affects us, every other planet that's up there affects us, but it doesn't affect us the same. You have an astrological chart. I invite you to find out the time you were born and Google, find your own astrology chart, find out where the planets are, find out how they affect you, and then you know what to prepare yourself for. It's all about preparing yourself for things so that it's less of an impact and less of a hardship. And also September, you'll probably find that things are becoming less of a burden, and maybe it's easier for you to delegate. Maybe it's easier for you to just leave things be instead of trying to take the world on your shoulders, which isn't working and can't carry on, by the way. It is that you'll be more proactive in what you want to do. Look at your money side of things and just look at if something new you've started with your money is what you really want to travel forward with, or is there something else that's new with your money that might benefit you a little bit more? It's a month to celebrate spring, be happy in whatever small way you can. Even watching nature can be absolutely amazing. So thank you for those questions, Sonya. Do you have any
my
last?
pleasure.
Do you have any last question you want to ask?
No, not today. I was just wondering what your cards were that were on the table.
I just said.
Oh, you've just.
Those are the ones I just. Those are the ones I just talked about actually.
Perfect.
And there could be. It's like with the money side of things. If there's something new you've started with your money, or you've had news about money, or you've got extra money, definitely it's about doing things that bring you joy and happiness. Not just having fun though. It's like, what can you put it toward that actually, I've always wanted to do this. Just give myself a little bit of this pleasure. It might be deemed as being a little bit frivolous by other people. But if you want to go on a trip, go on a trip. It's like if you've always wanted to go somewhere, go there. Give yourself a little bit of a holiday time when you think, oh, but everyone's busy. Give yourself that holiday time and that space to do things, but in any other project as well. Be a little bit more creative this year, this month. You might be surprised what you do, what you come out with as well. Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Thank you, Sonya, for the questions. And
My pleasure.
I hope that explained a few things.
It does, definitely.
Cool.
Yes.
Excellent. And on that note, lovely people out there, we're going to close off this month. We will be back in a couple of weeks with October, believe it or not. And you know, there's been a lot of things around Christmas this September. I found out that I think it was the Philippines that start celebrating Christmas on the 1st of September. And that really was something I never knew before. But everything around has been around Christmas this year and this month, and it's been quite interesting.
This program was produced by and first broadcast on Radio Hawke's Bay, your community access media station. Thanks to New Zealand On Air for making this type of programming possible.
Contact me for a personal reading or guidance, 027 4166 545. It's been Gail and Sonya. Thank you, darling.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next month.